Because it means different things to different people. You know, it's got great multiple connotations, but it's...
Keith Urban is a name synonymous with brilliance in country music, a man who has dazzled millions with his guitar mastery, heartfelt lyrics, and commanding presence on stage. Behind the applause and the awards, however, lies a journey shaped by vulnerability, childhood struggle, and the immense pressure of fame. In a career that spans continents and decades, Urban's life is a testament to resilience, ambition, and the quiet battles waged far from public view. His story reveals the humanity behind the legend, the boy from New Zealand who became a global icon, the man who faced immense internal struggle while the world watched him shine, and the truth about how even the strongest can falter. Childhood in New Zealand. Keith Urban's early years were spent in the quiet edges of New Zealand, in a small house filled with weathered walls and the constant hum of financial stress. Money was scarce, and stability was a fleeting luxury. His parents worked tirelessly, often leaving early and returning late, striving to give their children a sense of normalcy despite the relentless pressure of scarcity. Within this environment, Keith experienced a childhood marked by silence and unpredictability. The weight of instability pressed on him before he could even fully understand the concept of security. School became another place of struggle. His accent, soft voice, and slight frame made him a target for teasing and ridicule. Yet, even amidst this adversity, a spark of resilience began to grow within him. The quiet challenges of his early years laid the foundation for the determination, empathy, and inner strength that would carry him through the pressures of fame and personal life. Early insecurities and isolation. From a young age, Keith Urban learned what it meant to feel small in a world that seemed indifferent to his existence. The taunts of classmates, the occasional neglect of authority figures, and the constant whisper of inadequacy instilled a persistent sense of self-doubt. Yet, in this environment, he discovered the power of creating an internal sanctuary. Music became that refuge, a private world where he could exist without judgment. The fear of never being enough, of failing to belong, and of being left behind by those he loved lingered like a shadow behind every note he played. These insecurities did not disappear as he aged. They matured alongside him, quietly influencing his approach to relationships, career, and self-expression. The echoes of childhood doubt would later resurface in moments of intense pressure, reminding him that even global success could not erase the deeply ingrained fear of inadequacy. Discovery of music. The first transformative moment in Keith Urban's life came when his father brought home an old guitar. Its worn wood and rough edges carried the imprint of someone else's story, yet to Keith it represented possibility and sanctuary. His fingers did not know chords or structure, but when they touched the strings, the sound opened a doorway out of fear, isolation, and self-doubt. Music became a lifeline, a medium through which he could articulate feelings too complex to speak aloud. Every note grounded him, provided direction, and shaped the trajectory of his ambitions. This connection was noticed and nurtured by his parents, who made sacrifices, sometimes quietly pawning household items, to ensure Keith could take lessons and pursue the craft that brought him solace. The guitar was more than an instrument. It was a tool for survival, a companion through loneliness, and the first thread in a tapestry of resilience that would later define his professional and personal journey. Teenage challenges and determination. Adolescence intensified the tension between Keith's internal sanctuary and the harshness of the external world. At school, he continued to face ridicule, and his self-esteem remained fragile. Yet, through these experiences, he cultivated determination and resourcefulness. He understood early that survival required persistence, self-reliance, and a focus on the few things that could anchor him emotionally. Music remained his constant, offering both solace and a sense of identity. By practicing relentlessly, performing whenever opportunities arose, and immersing himself in learning the craft, Keith began to forge a path that diverged from the instability of his early environment. These formative years emphasized the importance of discipline, emotional resilience, and the ability to channel internal struggles into tangible skills. The seeds of a legendary career were sown in these quiet battles, where the guitar served as both weapon and shield against the uncertainties that surrounded him. Migration to America. Keith Urban's journey to America was a courageous leap into the unknown, fueled by hope, determination, and a deep belief in the power of music to change a life. Leaving New Zealand behind, he carried little more than a guitar, a handful of dreams, and an unshakable CE conviction that his talent could carve a place for him in a world that had yet to notice him. The challenges were immediate. Housing was uncertain. Some nights were spent sleeping in his car, while others were spent on couches offered by strangers, willing to help a young musician with big ambitions. Financial scarcity was a constant companion, reminding him of the fragility of his situation. Despite these obstacles, music remained his guiding light. Small bars, intimate venues, and impromptu performances became the training ground where he honed not only his technical skills but also his resilience. Every note he played, every faint applause he received reinforced the lesson that talent, persistence, and heart could overcome even the most daunting circumstances. In these early years, Keith's life was a delicate balance of survival and aspiration. The streets of Nashville were unfamiliar, and the culture and pace required him to adapt quickly. He learned to navigate a world where every opportunity had to be earned, often through long nights of practice and performances that yielded little financial reward. These experiences shaped his work ethic and instilled a patience that would serve him well throughout his career. Keith understood that fame was not immediate. It had to be built step by step through dedication, courage, and an unwavering commitment to his craft. The sense of isolation he felt only deepened his connection to music, transforming every song he played into a personal statement of hope, determination, and survival. Early career struggles. The first years in Nashville were both exhilarating and testing. As Keith began to find his voice within the industry, he faced not only the challenges of professional development, but also the emotional hurdles of living far from the familiarity of home. Music became both refuge and responsibility. While he was gaining recognition for his talent, he also carried the weight of self-expectation and the pressure to prove that he deserved the opportunities he was seeking. The journey required long hours, relentless practice, and performances that demanded energy, focus, and vulnerability, often in front of audiences that were skeptical or indifferent. During this period, Keith navigated the natural anxieties of a young artist entering a competitive field. The fear of not being accepted, of not belonging, and of falling short weighed heavily on him, even as he built relationships with other musicians and began to learn the rhythms of the industry. Each performance became an exercise in both craft and courage as he worked to translate personal experiences into music that could resonate with others. Through these struggles, he developed emotional resilience and an appreciation for the subtleties of connecting with audiences. Nashville was both teacher and test, and Keith's early career struggles laid the groundwork for the perseverance, empathy, and authenticity that would define him as an artist. Breakthrough with Golden Road. Keith Urban's breakthrough came with the album Golden Road, a milestone that transformed his journey from a talented newcomer to a rising star in country music. The album reflected not just technical skill, but a deeply personal approach to songwriting and performance. Listeners responded to the authenticity and honesty in his work, hearing in every note the emotional journey that had brought him from New Zealand to the heart of Nashville. Critics took note of his distinctive style, praising the blend of precision, innovation, and emotional depth that made his music compelling and relatable. Golden Road offered Keith a profound sense of belonging and validation. For the first time, the music industry and a wider audience recognized his artistry on a significant scale. The experience reinforced the value of perseverance, reminding him that years of struggle, practice, and small victories had contributed to a moment of true recognition. Yet, even as public acclaim grew, Keith remained aware of the internal voices of doubt and self-reflection that had accompanied him since childhood. Success did not erase his history. Instead, it magnified the expectations and pressures of maintaining and expanding his achievements. The album was a turning point, a bridge between a period of striving and the broader opportunities that awaited him, setting the stage for the challenges and triumphs that would follow. Rise to fame and stardom. With the success of Golden Road, Keith Urban entered a new phase of his career, marked by recognition, tours, and a growing reputation as one of the most skilled and dynamic performers in country music. Sold-out venues, chart-topping singles, and industry awards brought him not only financial stability but also visibility and influence. Audiences admired his precision, musicality, and the way he connected with every song he performed. His public persona reflected confidence and mastery, a reflection of the work he had invested in building his craft and navigating the competitive landscape of the music industry. However, with fame came a new set of pressures. Every performance carried expectations from fans, critics, and industry insiders alike. The higher Keith rose, the more visible his successes became, and with that visibility came the constant awareness of responsibility and accountability. Despite this, he continued to nurture his artistry, experimenting with different styles, collaborating with other musicians, and refining his skills. The balance between personal authenticity and public expectation became a defining feature of his career. Through these years, Keith's dedication to music remained steadfast, illustrating how perseverance, passion, and resilience can elevate not only talent, but also character. Personal growth and self-discovery. As Keith Urban's career flourished, he also embarked on a journey of personal growth and self-discovery. The experiences of his early years, the struggles, the small victories, and the challenges of adapting to a new culture shaped his approach to life beyond the stage. He learned the importance of grounding himself, seeking meaningful relationships, and maintaining perspective amidst the pressures of fame. Music continued to be both a mirror and a compass, helping him navigate complex emotions, personal milestones, and the inevitable ups and downs of life in the public eye. Keith's journey was also characterized by self-reflection and learning to balance ambition with well-being. He recognized the importance of staying connected to the roots of his artistry, reminding himself of the joy and solace that music provided, even as commercial and professional demands intensified. Personal growth became intertwined with his professional path, as every achievement offered both celebration and an opportunity for introspection. These years demonstrated that success is not simply a measure of public recognition, but also a journey of understanding oneself, embracing vulnerability, and nurturing the qualities that enable long-term fulfillment and resilience, balancing career and life. Keith Urban's ascent in the music industry required him to develop a careful balance between professional commitments and personal life. The demands of touring, recording, and public appearances often competed with his need for rest, reflection, and connection with loved ones. Over time, he learned strategies to manage the pace of his career while safeguarding his creativity and emotional health. This balance was critical not only for maintaining the quality of his performances, but also for preserving his sense of identity and purpose outside the spotlight. In these years, Keith cultivated a routine that allowed him to remain present and engaged with both music and life. He developed an understanding of the importance of pacing, taking moments to recharge and reflect, and valuing relationships that provided support and stability. This balance extended to his creative process, where he prioritized authenticity and emotional connection in his music. By integrating personal well-being with professional dedication, Keith Urban demonstrated how an artist can thrive in a demanding industry while staying grounded and true to his passions. Relationships and support systems. The support of meaningful relationships played a pivotal role in Keith Urban's life and career. Mentorship from industry colleagues, encouragement from friends, and the unwavering belief of his family reinforced his confidence and resilience. These connections offered perspective, guidance, and emotional grounding, helping him navigate both triumphs and challenges. Keith understood that success is rarely achieved in isolation, and that cultivating trust and mutual support is essential to sustaining a demanding career. At the same time, personal relationships provided balance and inspiration. Companionship, understanding, and love nurtured his emotional health, allowing him to face pressures with greater composure. These bonds also reminded him of the values and experiences that shaped him, keeping him connected to the person he was beyond fame. Through these relationships, Keith learned the importance of reciprocity, empathy, and patience, qualities that enriched both his personal life and professional collaborations, enabling him to flourish as a musician, partner, and human being. Creative evolution. As his career progressed, Keith Urban continued to evolve creatively. He experimented with different genres, refined his songwriting, and explored new collaborations. This evolution was driven not only by ambition, but by a deep curiosity and love for music. He sought to express emotion, experience, and authenticity in ways that resonated with audiences while staying true to his artistic vision. Every song, performance, and album became a reflection of both personal growth and professional mastery. Creative evolution also involved embracing risk and vulnerability. Keith challenged himself to step beyond familiar territory, to explore themes and styles that demanded honesty and courage. Through this process, he developed a distinctive musical voice, one that combined technical prowess with emotional resonance. His commitment to creative growth demonstrated that mastery in art is not a static achievement, but a continuous journey of exploration, reflection, and expression. Public persona versus private life. The contrast between Keith Urban's public persona and private life became increasingly apparent as his fame grew. While audiences saw a confident, poised performer, behind the scenes he navigated uncertainty, reflection, and moments of self-doubt. Maintaining this duality required emotional intelligence, discipline, and a nuanced understanding of performance and identity. He learned to cultivate the public image necessary for professional success while preserving the authenticity and vulnerability that defined him as a person. This balance required constant vigilance. Every public appearance, performance, or interview was guided by a combination of technical skill, emotional awareness, and strategic presentation. Yet, Keith remained aware that his true fulfillment derived from the private spaces where he could create, reflect, and connect with those who knew him beyond the spotlight. The distinction between public perception and private reality became a lens through which he understood both the rewards and pressures of success, shaping his approach to career, relationships, and personal well-being. Meeting Nicole Kidman. A turning point in Keith Urban's personal life came with his meeting Nicole Kidman. Their connection was immediate, offering a stabilizing influence during a period when fame and personal pressure threatened to overwhelm him. Nicole's presence provided a sense of safety and understanding that Keith had rarely experienced. She recognized the vulnerability beneath the public persona, offering grounding and emotional support without seeking to fix him. Their partnership became a refuge, a shared space where professional demands and personal history could coexist, and where Keith experienced intimacy, security, and love. The relationship allowed him to envision a life beyond survival, including family, stability, and emotional connection. Collapse at the CMA Awards. The culmination of years of pressure and unresolved anxiety occurred backstage at the 2025 CMA Awards. In the quiet of his dressing room, Keith Urban's internal struggle became visible. Trembling, tearful, and disoriented, he was no longer the polished icon. He was a man grappling with accumulated personal and professional strain. His breakdown was not a failure of talent or preparation, but the result of a lifetime of internalized pressure, loss, and unresolved emotional wounds. The event revealed the humanity behind the legend, illustrating that even those who appear invincible can reach a point where the weight of their own expectations becomes overwhelming. The hidden battles. Keith Urban's backstage collapse reflected battles waged long before the public witnessed them. Anxiety, burnout, the aftermath of divorce, and the relentless demands of the industry coalesced into a private struggle hidden behind decades of performance. While audiences saw charisma, skill, and composure, the reality was a fragile human being managing trauma, doubt, and exhaustion. The incident highlighted the often unseen cost of fame and the difficulty of sustaining a public persona when private resilience is tested to its limits. Resilience and humanity. Despite the CMA collapse, Keith Urban's journey remains one of resilience and endurance. The breakdown was not an endpoint, but a moment of profound human honesty. It reminded those who witnessed it that vulnerability and strength coexist, and that even icons must confront the emotional weight of their lives. Urban's story underscores the importance of compassion, support systems, and self-awareness, demonstrating that personal truth can exist alongside professional achievement. The man who fell backstage had lived decades of struggle, triumph, and love, and in that moment, he revealed the core of his humanity, an artist, a survivor, and a human being striving to reconcile the brilliance of his public self with the fragility of his private soul.